Cowboys at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, gotta get dealt with.
10, 5, and he streaks in. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5, to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Lamb goes out. Pump short. Scan the field. Got a man coming open in the back of the end zone. Jalen Brooks hangs on for the touchdown. Third of the day.
Out of the 6 wins for the Dallas Cowboys this season, 5 of which have come on the road. 30-14 the final scores. The Cowboys take down the Carolina Panthers in Week 15. Welcome in to Cowboys Game Night from the Star in Frisco. I'm your host, Kyle Yeoman, soon to be joined by Isaiah Stanback. We're going to have post-game reaction, highlights, and a whole lot more breaking down the Cowboys win over Carolina. Let's start with the highlights. The Cowboys entered this matchup 4-2 on the road this year, looking for their 5th road win. Going straight to the second quarter, Cowboys wanted to make a point to find CeeDee Lamb. This one from 28 yards out, he gets him inside the red zone. Wide receiver 1 cooking early. How did they reward him? They went right back to him. Cooper Rush lofts it up. There's CeeDee twisting back to the football. He makes the grab. A phenomenal catch for CeeDee Lamb. He had over 100 yards in the first half. This throw back pylon, making it happen as he twists to the football was enough to put the Cowboys on the board early. They led it 7-0. Next drive for Carolina, Bryce Young's pass was tipped by Jordan Lewis. Great play by the DB, Eric Kendricks, for the interception. This leads to a Brandon Aubrey field goal, and Dallas led 10-0. Later in the quarter, Dallas on 3rd down and 1, trying to go up by 17 points in the red zone again. Cooper Rush fumbles the ball off of the play action. League high 9th turnover in the red zone this year, and it leaves the door open for Carolina. 55 seconds left in the first half to do something with it. Even then, the Cowboys didn't think much of it after the Cooper Rush fumble, just the fact that they lost out on points. But it would get a whole lot worse. They only needed about 10 seconds to find Jalen Coker. Bryce Young to Coker for 83 yards on the next play from scrimmage, put Carolina on the board. It was a 10-7 Cowboys lead at the break. Opening up the second half, the Carolina Panthers on offense. The Cowboys defense found their rhythm. Osa Odigizua forces the fumble. Chauncey Golston recovers. This was the first play from scrimmage to start the third quarter. Bryce Young could not hold on. Dallas takes over, and they rewarded their defense. Cooper Rush finding a wide-open Jalen Tolbert, drags the second foot. He has his first touchdown since Week 12. Dallas up 17-7. Next defensive drive, Dallas putting some pressure on Bryce Young. They get to him again. This time it was Chauncey Golston that gets it done. Cowboys get the football back after a stop. Then on 1st down and 10, Cooper Rush rolling, finding Jalen Brooks on the dive back of the end zone. What a grab for the first career receiving touchdown for the second-year wide receiver. Jalen Brooks gets it done. First score of his career, puts it out of reach for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons finishes with a couple of sacks. Dave Canales, as a play caller, really had no answer for Dallas on the defensive side, as they had 4 takeaways in the 30-14 win over Carolina. The Carolina Panthers have never scored more than 20 points against the Cowboys as the home team. They were favored going into this game, Isaiah, for the first time in 794 days. Yet the Cowboys still took care of business.
Well, whoever did that prediction, you were wrong. Okay? Dallas Cowboys came to play today. A lot of people wondered and had questions regarding what was going to be their motivation today. And you saw that the jersey that they had on their back, the star that they had on their helmet, and their brothers that they were playing next to was enough tonight. They went out there and took care of business offensively, defensively, and in the special teams. And every time you can get all 3 phases of the game working in symmetry, then that chemistry works together and you end up with a dub.
I think you look on the offensive side of the football, you ran the ball effectively, 149 rushing yards from Rico Dowdle, 116 through the air to CeeDee Lamb, and then Cooper Rush had the 3 passing touchdowns, but it was the defense.
Yeah.
Even with all of that on the offensive side, it was the defense that stole the show.
Yeah, the defense definitely showed up, and the defense really got into the backfield with Bryce Young and made him super uncomfortable. I had a feeling that coming into this game that Coach Zimmer and all his wisdom was going to create a lot of issues up front in terms of the pass protection for Bryce Young. He's young. He's inexperienced. There's a lot of things that Coach Zimmer has done to other people, other veteran quarterbacks up front to cause confusion that he was going to bring into this week's game plan, and you saw it show up today. There's a lot of stunts that we haven't seen a lot this season so far. Osa Odighizuwa got active. Micah Parsons was just a part of everything that was going on. He wasn't even the star of the show. It was the Osa show today. And whenever you can have Micah be a complimentary player, then you're probably doing something right up front.
You bring up the defensive prowess and some of those stunts. Let's say we go to the film. How about that, to break it down? When we come back, that defense got after Bryce Young, finishing with those 6 sacks. Micah Parsons got a couple. Isaiah mentioned it. Osa Odighizuwa did so as well. We break down one of the sacks when we come back.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Fighting through it. Kidding me? 2nd and 10. Young in trouble. Odighizuwa once again. 3 plays in this half, and Osa Odighizuwa has ruined them all.
Osa was a one-man wrecking crew on that defensive front 7 as we welcome you back in to Cowboys game night. The Cowboys with their 15th game since the beginning of the 2021 season with at least 5 sacks. That's the most in the NFL over that time span, and that's with 2 defensive coordinators. Dan Quinn for 3 years, now Mike Zimmer. What was Mike Zimmer dialing up on some of these sacks to get the job done from that front 7?
Something that we like to call stunts. And I'm going to take you guys to the board real quick to help you guys understand exactly what stunts are. Imagine just creating confusion for the offensive line and what their protections are. A lot of times offensive linemen like to come up to the line of scrimmage and have very simplistic looks, okay? What does that mean? That means that this tackle is responsible for that defensive end. This guard is responsible for that defensive tackle. That's the way that they want it to be. They want it to be very simple. But what happens when you start taking guys and you start running them outside and you start taking guys and running them inside? Now there has to be communication between these 2 gentlemen right here. These 2 guys that are locked in at the hip, now you start challenging their eyes. Do I take this guy or do I go with that guy as he goes away? Well, as we see this thing play out, we're going to see a nice little stunt. Okay, boom. We're going to see Osa come up. He's going to now come down and outside. What does that cause? Pause it right there. That requires now that both of these offensive linemen now have to keep their hands on Osa. All right, now who are you trying to free up? You're trying to free up Golston to come here and free up right here so that this offensive lineman cannot get off the block. He can't even see him coming, right? That's the whole purpose. But what ends up happening is you start getting layers, right? So now you have this offensive lineman that is about a yard ahead of this offensive lineman, right? So now there's a gap here. There's a seam there, right in there, in that gap right there. And what ends up happening is as we let it play out, right, we're trying to free up Golston. That's the intent. Golston's trying to come here, but now you guys can see this space right here. Y'all see this gap? That is the gap now that Osa Odighizuwa is now going to fully expose. He is now at a different layer, and now he's able to work back and get this sack. You guys see it right there? Boom. Now I'm able to come, get the sack right there just because of the different levels that these offensive linemen are now at. Because of that, you're able to take advantage of that. And once you identify that there is confusion up front, now I can expose that over and over and over again. One time Osa comes underneath, next time, Golston comes over the top. You can start mixing that up. Once those offensive linemen don't have that chemistry, you can expose it day after day.
And Carolina's been playing better on the offensive line over the last few weeks. In the last 5 games, Bryce Young had not been sacked more than 4 times.
Yeah.
The fact that you got to him 6 times today, forced those pressures, he was never really comfortable. They had over 25 pressures in the game. That's something that you can build on moving forward.
Absolutely, and you like to see it because now when you start having your interior D linemen start making plays, and when you have Osa Odighizuwa with 4 QB pressures and multiple sacks, now all of a sudden you can really start mapping some things out because you say, hey, if they have to start focusing on my interior D linemen, they're not even worried about Micah Parsons right now, right? And that's when Micah gets to start being the whole little crawling thing and become a lion on the ground. And now you have a whole problem because you have the interior guy that's balling out and an exterior guy.
And that's the thing, is Mike Zimmer starting to piece it together now that he does have Micah Parsons back. But it's leading to a whole lot of credit where credit is due to Mike Zimmer. How much does he deserve? Because these takeaways starting to pile up, the pressures are piling up. Has Mike Zimmer completely turned the page with this Cowboys defense, showing that they are still one of the best in the NFL?
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
The concept of the play is a great job. Is in phase, another way to say stationary. That is a sack for Parsons. Micah Parsons from the blind side of Young. And these Cowboys are making life.
Spoiler alert for those that are going to watch this game. You're going to see a lot of highlights of sacks and pressures because Bryce Young ultimately just didn't have time to throw in this game. Credit to Mike Zimmer and company. Back alongside Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans here for Cowboys Game Night. And Isaiah, after Dan Quinn had so much success through the 3 seasons here in Dallas, the pressure was on Mike Zimmer in his first, possibly only year as a defensive coordinator. He was signed to a 1-year deal. Mike McCarthy saying that Zimmer was the best man for the job. Has he shown that he can be the best man for this job moving forward? The fact that they've turned things around so significantly and consistently on the defensive end.
I think he's shown that he's capable of producing a defense that can have a positive impact on the game. I'm not sure that I can sit here and say that he is definitely the man for the job regardless of what takes place with the coaching staff, but he has proved himself what you've known about him, that he can put together a heck of a defense. And you're talking about somebody who came in here with extreme pressure. He came in under a 1-year contract. He came in after Dan Quinn, who's had a lot of success at the defensive coordinator position here in Dallas. He came in taking on somebody else's culture, and Dan Quinn already had instilled a culture. And then he came in with the personnel grouping that necessarily didn't fit the mold of what he likes to do defensively. So he's had to do a lot of adapting himself while the players were trying to adapt to him as well. And now you're starting to see it finally on the back half of the season start to pan out that in his favor. Through all the obstacles, through all the challenges, and through all the injuries as well, this defense is finally starting to put some things together.
That's the thing that stuck out to me. You said injuries there. The fact that you're finding a rhythm this late in the season when you're missing guys like DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarvion Overshown, Micah Parsons for a significant portion of time, Deron Bland for a significant portion of time. You've missed a lot of guys defensively.
Pro Bowlers.
Pro Bowls, all pros, and you're still able to piece it together. That's a credit to the coaching staff, not just Mike Zimmer, but really everybody as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you start seeing this, especially now, right? As you start looking at it today, and people are like, "Oh, you played against the Carolina Panthers." It's like, okay, yeah, you can say you can't change who you play, right? Whoever's on the schedule is on the schedule. But when you're able to keep this locker room together and you're able to get guys to play for more than just themselves, that's when you start understanding how the level and the depth of this coaching, because these guys have nothing to play for outside of just pride and outside of the paycheck that's going to hit no matter what. So how do you get these guys to come out and exert the maximum effort, even when the playoff hopes are slim?
Well, and you've got that maximum effort, not just from the defense, but from the offense today against Carolina as well. When we come back, we break down C.D. Lamb's phenomenal scoring touchdown. The fact that he had the wherewithal to make the grab, plus had some impact on the offensive side of the football. We go inside C.D. Lamb's big day right after this.
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Couple big plays on third down on this drive. 3rd and 4. Rush end zone. Lamb adjusts in a fitting way for this drive to end. A C.D. Lamb touchdown.
C.D. Lamb was active early on the Cowboys' offensive side of the ball. They made it a point to get him involved back alongside Isaiah Stanback. You played wide receiver.
A little bit.
You also played quarterback.
A little bit.
So you know how that works in the passing game. Cooper Rush with 3 passing scores, but it was a point early to get C.D. Lamb the ball. I want to know how this worked out on the touchdown grab, why it was a designed play that way C.D. could attack that front pylon.
It looks like it's just pitch and catch, right?
Easy.
Nah, that's not that easy. I want you guys to understand exactly what the Dallas Cowboys were trying to do on this play and how just engaged Coach McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer are into this offense. Understand this. These guys understand that this is man defense. This man is responsible for C.D. Lamb. This man is responsible for Ferguson, and there's another gentleman out yonder that is going to be responsible for October. Now, knowing that, this was the play call, okay? Now, how can I free up C.D. Lamb if I know that this is man-to-man? Well, first of all, I need to get this man right here to turn his eyes away. Okay, I need his eyes to go that way. So what do I do in order to get that to happen? I'm going to take Ferg and I'm going to say, hey, Ferg, get out of here. Just run him out of there and make sure that his eyes go that way. Okay, perfect. Now, how do I get this gentleman over here who you can't see right now, how do I get his eyes to go that way? Well, Tolbert, I need you to make sure that you run at him, grab his attention, and take him across the field as well. That way I can get his eyes away, I can get this guy's eyes away, and I can isolate who? I can isolate this man right here on to CeeDee Lamb. Now, as we see it, CeeDee Lamb's going to come off the ball. Boom, boom, boom. Pause it right there. Now, what did we just say? We wanted this defender's eyes to go that way. Ferguson, you're doing your job. Great job. Okay, great play design. Great job. Now, Tolbert, what are you doing? I'm going to cross this guy's face and take him out of there. And now, CeeDee Lamb, you have all the space in the world to work. You can work and you can do whatever you want. You can give him a little shimmy, you do whatever you want, but you're going to have this entire outside here to run your route. That's exactly what you're going to see. You see Tolbert right now. What's Tolbert doing? Tolbert's ensuring that his man has to turn his eyes. He gets out of there. He gets out of here. Now CeeDee Lamb has all the room to work and work all the way here to the corner. All you got to do is put the ball up anywhere in that hemisphere. Ball's a little bit behind, but CeeDee Lamb is a dude. He's an all-pro receiver. And when you're Cooper Rush and you have an all-pro receiver versus man-to-man coverage on a play design that was built for man-to-man, you get a touchdown.
That's the thing is you throw it up there, make it happen. It happened last week against the Cowboys. Jamar Chase was a menace to that Cowboys defense.
Yep.
Joe Burrow said, you know what, I'm going to be pressured all day long. Doesn't matter, I'm going to get it to Jamar Chase. Now you can say the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. And Cooper Rush and CeeDee Lamb have not played a ton together. Nope. Keep that in mind because it's normally been Dak and CeeDee. Well, without Dak in the fold for these last few games, now 6 games this year, Cooper Rush has that ability to go to CeeDee Lamb in moments like that. How big is that connection moving forward?
It's huge. I mean, that has to be in sync. I mean, there's no way that you can go into any game plan right now through the rest of the year and not make sure that CeeDee Lamb and Cooper Rush are on one accord. So whatever reps they need to get in practice, whatever they need to do post-practice, they don't care if they need to be on a text thread together. You need to ensure that those guys are in tight because you have to find a way to get CeeDee Lamb the ball 7, 8, 9 touches a game.
You saw Jake Ferguson and Jalen Tolbert both have success on that play, did their job.
Yeah.
Did you see enough from the other guys in the mix from a wide receiver position today to say, hey, we're moving in the right direction?
Those guys made some plays.
Okay.
They definitely made some plays. I mean, you want to see more consistency, but you like the fact that those guys made some splash plays for you. Those were tough catches that Tolbert made. Those tough catches that Jalen Brooks made. Those are not easy by any means. But the fact that with the play that we just showed you guys, those guys doing their job to make sure that you free up your number one guy, that is understanding that, hey, this is my role on this particular play. I'm going to be a selfless individual so that we can make sure that we have a successful play.
And you're making it all happen. That trust is being built as these final 3 games now will continue on as well. When we come back, who's Isaiah's dog of the game? Who had their best game to help lead the Cowboys to a 30-14 win?
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Out of the pistol to begin this second half with the throw. And it's knocked down. It's another turnover. Osa Odighizuwa drilled him, and Dallas is on top of it. First play of the second half.
First play of the second half, Osa Odighizuwa makes the play. Is that enough to earn his right as Isaiah Stanback's dog of the game?
Yes, it is, Kyle. Osa Odighizuwa went out there, 4 QB pressures, couple sacks, forced fumble. I mean, who else can do it? I mean, can anybody else take that from him?
He was phenomenal. Of course, the former UCLA Bruin. You played in the Pac-12 back in the day. Now they're in the Big Ten with the Washington Huskies. But he's still a dog, getting it done. Former third-round pick. He was all over the field today.
He's all over the field. And this is a guy who's been producing for you all season long. But when he has his opportunity, when a coach changes up exactly what the game plan is, he showed up in the biggest way. And not only did he show up, but he allowed guys like Golston to show up. He allowed guys like Micah Parsons to show up. Usually it's the other way around. Not today.
Big time this next week as well to go up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans are waiting. Can that defense force some pressure on the Buccaneers? For Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Cowboys win it 30-14. Thanks for watching Cowboys Game Night.